Hello, welcome to Truck Stop Murder and True Crime Podcast. I'm your host, Gary Howard. And if you're a return listener, thank you. If you're a new listener, let me tell you about what I do. I'm OTR truck driver for Prima Express and travel all 48 states of the continental United States. And during these days, I stay at truck stops. So on this podcast, I'll talk about truck stops where I stay at, reviews, restaurants, and where they're located, cars too. So if you're traveling, you stop at these truck stops and you want to eat out these restaurants and whatnot, or even the conditions of them. Normally, I'll do the ones that I've stayed at already. Well, currently I'm at. I'm gonna be this episode right now. I'm gonna do the one that I'm currently at. One of the rare occasions. I'm gonna start doing Mondays of this, but because I'm behind on my research on the case I wanted to cover, I'll be doing this one, which is kind of different than what I normally do. But all the same, with re- the Netflix documentary about this coming out, I thought I will go ahead and do it. But the truck stop I'm right now is the Flying J. It's in Tulare, Tulare, California, off of Highway 99 on exit 85, East Page Avenue, Paige. If you want to know, not Page, but like Paige the wrestler. And so right now there's a lot of spaces. Or they have reserve spots if you want to reserve a spot. But you can, unlike TA and Petro, you can actually use points for these reserve spots. But there's still plenty of them, about 21. But this place says it has 70 according to the Trucker's Path. Right now, diesel's 3.95 a gallon, which is going up, or that's just California, and def is 315. There's 75 spots here. All of this, every other truck stop they have TransFlow here. Bulk and def bulk in every pump. 8 showers, and it's a fairly new truck stop. The address is 1109 East Page Avenue, Tulare, California. I know I'm saying that name wrong, but Tulare. So that's what it sounds like to me. Like I said, right now there's plenty of spots, and the truck's overall 42 reviews. It has a 3.2 rating. So if you're traveling as a truck driver or just driving your POV, personal vehicle, four-wheel vehicle, will depend on what you call it. I know military calls it POV, but truck drivers call it four-wheeler. And you're driving through here, you want to get a bite to eat or stay here to close your eyes for a little bit. There's also a Love's truck stop right across the street that's looks like, I haven't been over there, but looks pretty new. They have their restaurant you can eat at, which that's where also McDonald's and Subway's at, I believe. I know the Subway's not in here. What's here is the Wendy's and also the regular Flying J truck stop food you could get, like pizza, chicken tenders, chicken wings, and stuff like that. Regular truck stop food, which is not too bad. I had the fish yesterday, caught it, and was not too bad. I know some of the reviews talk about how nasty it was, but I didn't think it was that bad. And so let's go with the reviews at the three. Why do people think it's only worth 3.2 reviews? So normally I would do just the bad reviews. I'm gonna go just in a row. So 4 star by nonsense name, clean lot, clean building, friendly, helpful staff, very big, clean showers, and I'll find out later on. 5 star by the airborne vet. 21 reserve spots total, and yeah, he put like triple M. 21 reserve spots total and 21 reserve spots available in the app. 5 steering wheel holders in the reserve spots. I guess paying for a reserve spot here is optional. Hurry, come get your free reserve spot while they last. And when I first read that, I didn't know. I guess he is crying because some people park there. I mean, screw it. If they're, I guess, I don't know. I guess he's just whining because he calls them steering wheel holders because they're actually parked in a reserve spot. Maybe they're not going to stay there. I don't know. Or maybe they walked in there to get the reserve spot and he happened to pull up as they're reserving them because he don't have the app. Either way, sounds like he's crying about it. 2 star from anonymous user. Plenty of reserve spots open. The lot is not full. So no reason to pay for it if you don't have to. 5 star from G7. 16 lots. By the way, I'm gonna read them like they wrote them. 16 lots of reserve parking left open. None reserve parking. All was Wrongful. 2-star by Phantomon. Reserve a shower on the app and waited in the truck for an hour until I was next in line. Went into the store and waited around for another hour for one shower to be clean. Typical California bull. Showers clean and big, so at least there's that. This one guy, Eagle One, did 2 reviews. 1-star, terrible, terrible. Okay. Another Apple ass who said, "Wow, 10:30 a.m. and the food and the hot cakes were in a very sad state, like they had been sitting there for hours. Green beans looked days old, which I thought they were good. 2 colors mixed. Roast beef was dry." Okay. 5-star review, Skater Lenny, Skater Skeeter Lenny. Newer Flying J, great services, food selection, organized parking, functional pumps, awesome showers. Already smells like a cattle lot from the trucker's piss, but that can't be overlooked. Trucker's piss, but that can be overlooked this time. 1, updates, and someone's looking for updates on the parking. I'll do a few more. 5-star review, at least 20 to 25 free spots available, and don't really look to fill up anytime soon. 20 reserved spots available, plenty room to U-turn and park easily. Most spaces are straight back ends, which is probably right. There's a lot of places where you can just back on in. 5-star, lots of parking, easy to park. Two more. Shower number 14 is not clean. There's on the toilet. I don't know what's on the toilet, probably shit, but he just said there's on the toilet. See, and the garbage is full of feminine products. No tip today. Like, I bet you he probably never tipped anyhow. So one more 2-star review by Gray D. Reed. Just walked by the laundry to take a shower. They got it closed. What in the dirty trucker drawers is that about? I don't know. Maybe they're cleaning your dirty drawers. But anyhow, that's where I'm at. Like I said, the Flying J in is, see if I can spell that. Tulare, California. I was going to Los Angeles tomorrow for a couple loads into Ottawa, Illinois, but they canceled the load. And since I'm right north of Los Angeles, that's why I decided to do this case right here. And plus, with the documentary just came out, I figured why not. And I don't know if it's a murder. It could go down as a murder or true crime or just a suicide. Either way, I hope you enjoy the story. It's on the death of Elisa Lam. So on February 19th, 2013, a body was recovered from a water tank on top of the Cecil Hotel in downtown Los Angeles. It was later identified as that of Elisa Lam, also known by her Cantonese name, Lam Hoi. I guess hoping I'm saying that right. A Canadian student at the University of British Columbia in Vancouver. She had been staying in a hotel when she was reported missing at the beginning of the month. A maintenance worker discovered the body when investigating guest complaints of problems with the water supply and the pressure. Her disappearance had been widely reported. Interest had increased 5 days prior to discovery of her body when the Los Angeles Police Department released a video of the last time she was known to have been seen. On the day of her disappearance by an elevator security camera in the hotel. In the footage, Lam is seen exiting and re-entering the elevator, talking and gesturing in the hallway outside, and sometimes seeming to hide within the elevator, which, if you follow me on my social media accounts, I actually posted on this video on there. So if you want to go check that out, or you can probably just YouTube it. There's YouTube Elisa Lam video footage, and you'll find it. And you tell me what you think she was doing. A lot of people think, well, I'll get to it. The video went viral, with many viewers reporting that they found it unsettling. Explanations ranged from claims of paranormal involvement to bipolar disorder, for which Lam took medication. It was also been argued that the video was altered, then released. The circumstances of Lam's death, once she was found, also raised questions, especially in light of the hotel's history in relation to other notable deaths and murders. Her body was naked and most of her clothes was personal effects floating in the water near her. It took the Los Angeles County's office coroner's office 4 months after repeated delays to release the autopsy report, which reported no evidence of physical trauma and states that the manner of death was accidental. Guests at the Cecil, now rebranded as Stay on Main, which is not, the whole hotel was not the Stay on Main. It was just if you watch the documentary or did anything about the research. Also, you go online and look at it, but only a partial part of the stay on Main had different entrances, and other part was, but they still shared the same elevator. But because where it was located and how the city was trying to help out the homeless, the person bought it but could not switch it all to a hotel. So it was still the Cecil Hotel and also Stay on Main. But they sued the hotel over the incident, and Lamb's parents filed a separate lawsuit later that year. The later was the They was dismissed in 2015. Some of the earlier internet interests noted that there were considered to be unusual similarities between the deaths and the 2002 horror film Dark Water. The case has since I'm going to start not reading again. The case has since been referenced in international popular culture. Referenced. Oh, what? Why was the word so referenced in international popular culture? It was a subject of crime scene, the vanishing at the Cecil Hotel, a four-part 2000, this year documentary on Netflix, which in my opinion, I believe they could have done it in two. They did a lot of repeating themselves, but overall, it's a good episode to watch. I would definitely recommend it. So let's talk about Lam. Lam was the daughter of immigrants from Hong Kong, was a student at the University of British Columbia. Although she was not registered at the beginning of 2013 for her trip to California, Lam traveled alone on Amtrak and intercity buses. She visited the San Diego Zoo and posted photos there on social media, and she was big on social media and blogging, by the way. On January 26th, she arrived in Los Angeles. After 2 days, she checked into Cecil Hotel near downtown Skid Row. Lam was initially assigned to a shared room on the hotel's fifth floor. However, her roommates complained about what the hotel lawyer would later describe as a certain odd behavior, and Lam moved to a room on her own after 2 days. It was built in the business hotel 1920s as a business hotel in the 20s. The Cecil had significant financial difficulties during the Great Depression of the 1930s and never recaptured its original marketing as the downtown decayed around it, which all around in the 20th century, which quickly became all around it became Skid Row with 10 over around 10,000 homeless people around that place. And well, I could go into a whole thing about that altogether. But let's carry on. Several of Los Angeles' more notable murders that happened at this have connections with this hotel. It's 1964, resident there, Goldie Osgood, the pigeon lady of Pershing Square, was raped and murdered in her room at the Cecil, a crime that has never been solved. Of course, serial killers Jack Underweger and Richard Ramirez both resided at the Cecil while active. There have also been suicides, one which killed a pedestrian outside of the entrance of the hotel, and after recent renovations, it has tried to market it as a boutique hotel, but the reputation lingers. The Cecil will reveal to whatever it is you're fugitive from. Just reread that again. The Cecil will reveal to you whatever it is you're a fugitive from, says Steve Erickson, a journalist who spent the night in the hotel room after Lamb's death. So let's talk about a little bit about the person that jumped. I looked that up because I was curious. I wanted to know information. They just can't. When I was looking on the Wikipedia, they were talking about a person jumped from the hotel. So I found this. Another person who is known to jump from the Cecil Hotel is Pamela Otten, 27, who did so on August 1962. Otten, though, did not simply kill herself after jumping, according to Film Daily. After getting into an argument, Otten leaped out the window of her ninth-story room. Unfortunately, when she fell those 90 feet, she landed on a 68-year-old transient man named George Gianni. Gianni. Giannine, who just happened to be walking by, no signs saying watching fallen bodies, but there it was. By the time the police arrived, both Aten and Gianni was deceased, having been killed instantly upon impact. When beginning the investigation, there was no witnesses to the event which complicated things. Initially, police thought that the two deceased had committed a murder-suicide and had potentially leaped together from the hotel. It had become clear, however, when police discovered that Gianni's hands was still in his pocket and shoes were still on, something that would not have been possible if he would have jumped out of the hotel window. And also, the pigeon Goldie, let's talk about a little bit about her. It's unsolved. Some murders that have occurred at the Cecil have remained unsolved to this day. In the case of Pigeon Goldie Osgood, they called her Pigeon Goldie, is one of them. She was a retired telephone operator who earned her nickname because she was also known to frequently feed pigeons in Pershing Square. A woman whose most dangerous act, according to the Los Angeles Times, was to scare away bigger birds from the smaller ones she was feeding. But she was found dead in the Cecil Hotel room in 1964, having been shot, stabbed, and sexually assaulted. The hotel staff who found the body also found her Dodgers baseball cap and bags of feed next to the body. Police suspected that Oscar's murder was connected to murder that happened the previous month at another hotel, so it was connected to that. But matter of fact, on the documentary, when you're talking about the Cecil, they have the new manager that was there at the time, and the first day she got there, she had a report that somebody had died in the room, so she went up there to look at it because of course she's the manager. She has to find out what's going on, call the police and everything. And then, of course, she was horrified because this is something that she was not used to. And she had to ask the maintenance man, "Is this something normal?" He said, "Yes." So he says it happens a lot in this area. So as they're walking down the road, not the road, but the hallway, they he was like, "This happened here, this happened here, this happened here," and just going through his point out rooms. And she ended up staying there for about 10 years when it closed. So a little bit more about Lamb. Lamb was diagnosed with bipolar disorder and depression. She had been prescribed four medications, and I'll try to Wellbutrin, Lamictal, Seroquin, and Effexor to treat her disorder. According to the family, who supposedly kept her history of mental illness a secret, but Lamb had no history of suicidal ideations or attempts, although one report claimed that she had previously gone missing for a brief period. In mid 2010, Lamb began a blog named Ether Fields on Blogspot. Over the next 2 years, she posted pictures of models in fashion clothes and accounts of her life, particularly her struggle with mental illness. In January 2012 blog post, Lamb laminated that a relapse at the start of the current school year term had forced her to drop several classes, leaving her feeling so utterly directionless and lost. She titled her post, "You've always hunted by the ideas you're wasting your life." After a quotation from the novelist Chuck Palahniuk, she used the quote as a epitaph for her blog. Epitaph of her blog. Lamb worried that her transcripts would look suspicious with so many withdrawals and that it would result in being unable to continue her studies and attend graduate school. So she's getting real paranoid about what she was writing, pretty much. A little over 2 years after Lamb had stopped blogging, she's announced that she'll be banning her blog for another anything that she and I'm having trouble reading. I don't know, like I forgot how to read. Her blog for another she has started on Tumblr. So she quit blogging there but went to Tumblr. And it's content mostly consisted of fashion photos, quotes, and a few posts in Lamb's own words. The same quotations was used as epigraph, whatever that were, epigraph. So let's look at a few things. What is bipolar? If you don't know what bipolar is, bipolar disorder, also known as a manic depression, is a mental illness that brings severe high and low moods and changes in sleep, energy, thinking, and behavior. People who have bipolar disorder can have periods which they feel overly happy and energized, and other periods of feeling very sad and hopeless. There's actually four types of bipolar. And of course, she was also feeling very depressed. She had a bad depression. Which depression, a lot of people just say, whatever, just cheer up, bitch, like they'll say on Small Town Murder back in the days. But it actually is a disorder. Possible causes include a combination of biological, physical, and social sources of distress. Increasingly, research. Well, see, what is the number one cause of depression? I'm not gonna read. There's like a lot of technical words there, and I don't think you want to hear me try to struggle with these words. But there's no single cause of depression. It could occur for a variety of reasons. It has many different triggers. For some people, an upsetting or stressful life event, such as berating, divorce, made fun of pretty much, divorce, illnesses, and redundancy, and job or money and worries can be the cause. Different causes can often combine the trigger of depression. So I probably confused y'all with all that. I could have left it out, but yeah, anything could cause anything. A lot of worthless. Just feel worthless. Nobody can help you. And then on top of the bipolar, where you have extreme highs. So imagine being depressed, and then also have bipolar. So if you're depressed, and then you get them extreme highs, you're just extremely high. Also, she was considered with a of class one. One. They had like four stages, but she was one where actually you could call hypnosis, where she can actually think that whatever she's feeling is actually going on. So let's talk about Lamb's disappearance after I done confused you with all that mess. Lamb contacted her parents in British Columbia every day while traveling. On February 1st, 2013, the day she was scheduled to check out of the Hotel Cecil and leave for Santa Cruz, her parents did not hear from her and called the Los Angeles Police Department. Her family flew to Los Angeles to help for the search. Hotel staff who saw Lamb that day said that she was alone outside the hotel. Katie Orphan, manager of a beauty nearby bookstore, was the only person who recalled seeing her that day. She was outgoing, very lively, and very friendly, while getting gifts to take home for her family. Orphan told CNN she was talking about what book she was going to be getting and whether or not what she would be getting or would be too heavy. She wanted to keep that because she was still planning on doing a lot of traveling. She wanted to make sure she get no heavy books. So, police searched the hotel to the extent that they legally could. They searched Lamb's room and had dogs go through the building, including the rooftop. But the canines were unsuccessful in detecting her scent. But we didn't search every room, Sergeant Rudy Lopez said. We could only do that if we had probable cause to believe a crime had been committed. On February 6th, a week after Lamb had been last seen, the LAPD decided more help was needed. Flyers with her image and were posted in the neighborhood online. It was brought the case to public attention through the media. So I looked up what is probable cause. Probable probable cause to search exists when facts and circumstances known to the officers provide the basis of a reasonable person to believe that a crime has been committed at the place to be searched, or the evidence of a crime exists at that location. Search warrants must specify this place to be searched as well as the item seized. So, and I've seen a lot of, I do watch a lot of crime shows and stuff like that. And a lot of times when, in fact, I think a episode I just did not too long ago where the search warrant stated that they had to check a certain part of the house, the main house, but because it was split in half and it was a second house, they're trying to say they did not have a search warrant for that, but they had a search warrant for the house, so that was excluded, so they needed a separate search warrant for that. Some places they have a search warrant for drugs, so if they find weapons, well, they can't do nothing about that, even though they see it legal. Their search warrant only covers drugs, and if it don't say in a search warrant to look in drawers, or it has to cover it, be detailed and say everything. If they can't say, if this search warrant does not say nothing about, let's say, closets, they can't search the closets, or if it either says entire house and content maybe, but I've never had a search warrant in my house, so I don't know what these look like, which is probably a good thing. So on February 15th, after another week with no signs of Lam, the LAPD released a video of the last known sighting of her taken in one of the Cecil's elevators by surveillance camera on February 1st. It is approximately 2.5 minutes of footage, and this is where everything went crazy. All the speculations of what happened, what was she on drugs and everything. But Lamb alone makes unusual moves and gestures, leaving the elevator at one point while its doors remain open, even after she appears to have pressed every button. When the doors fails to close after she returns, she leaves the door closed later. She leaves the door closed late. She leaves and the door's closed later. That's what it is. And like I said, this footage is on my social media page. If you look, or you can just YouTube it if you want to go to my social media pages. But the video drew worldwide interest in the case due to Lamb's strange behavior and been extensively analyzed and discussed. It was reposted widely, included on the Chinese video sharing site Youku, Youku, where it got 3 million views and 40,000 comments in its first 10 days. Many of the commodities found it unsettling. Commentators found it unsettling to watch. Several theories evolved to explain her actions. One was that Lamb was trying to get into the elevator car to move to or to escape from someone who was pursuing her, which a lot of people think. Others suggested that she might have been under influence of ecstasy, of some other party drug, but no drugs was in her body. The only thing that was really in her body was the drugs that she was taking, but it was not at normal dosages. She was not taking her medication at the time, so that was the only thing. I think she was, and as alcohol, she was like 0.02, but she was not known to drink, so there was not much. So no drugs, no alcohol. When her bipolar disorder became known, the theory was that she was having a psychotic episode also emerged. My wife think it might have been like a schizophrenic, but nothing was said in documentary or anything I read. That was just her theory, but it could be I mean, it could be her with adjustment, with the combining the bipolarness and the depression could cause become schizophrenic. But that's just me and my wife talking. I don't know. Other viewers argue that the video had been tampered with before being public, besides the obscuring of the timestamp, which I looked at that, and you can't really see what the timestamp is. It's moving faster in and out. They claim parts have been slowed down and nearly a minute of footage have been removed. This could have been done to protect the identity of someone who otherwise would be in the video, either related not to the disappearance of, either related or not to this disappearance. So, otherwise, but if you ever see the video, look at the bottom. There's like a little time frame, and it's really distorted. You can't really read it. And on the documentary, they actually said they saw a foot, at the bottom left when she walked away. They could see a foot of another person. But if you look really close, and I sat there and I watched it a few times, and what it looks like, it's her left foot. When she makes a turn, her left foot kind of slides back a little bit, and that's what you're looking at. Some people actually said that it looks like the elevator game, which was playing. It's some type of game that I guess is or Chinese elevator game. I'm not sure what is returning to going to like other dimensions and worlds. I guess it's so. I'm not sure where it's some kind of game Chinese. But all I know is called the elevator game. Let me get to it. So what you need to play the elevator game is one player. There are conflicting reports on If this can be played with others, one set of instructions we should say that you can, but to keep in mind that if anyone quits mid-ride, you have to start from the beginning. A 10-story building with at least one elevator is needed. So how do you play this elevator game? Get into the other world, enter elevator alone with with your friends, but no one else. Do not get out at any of the floors. If any outsiders gets on the elevators, you have to start over again. Number 2, proceed to the 4th floor. 3, descend to the 2nd floor. 4, proceed to the 6th floor. 5, return to the 2nd floor. 6, ascend to the 10th floor. 7, return to the 5th floor. When you reach the 5th floor, it is then that people report encountering a young woman. You're instructed not to look or interact with her. She may or may not be trying to talk to you, asking for help, or any of bothering you. 8. Press the button for the 1st floor. Two things might happen. If the elevator descends to the 1st floor, exit immediately and do not look back or speak. If the elevator starts to go up, you've been allowed to go into the other world. When you reach the 10th floor, things might look slightly different. No one else is there, will be there. The power might be out. Some players claim to look out the window and see only a red cross in the distance. If you choose to exit the elevator, you should ignore the woman's attempt to question you to stop. If you choose to stay in the elevator and not explore, just press the button for the 1st floor and return home. You might have to keep pressing the button to get it to work. If you choose to get off the elevator and explore, there are a few rules to follow in order to properly return to your home world, because you don't want to be stuck in some different world in a scenario. You must use the same elevator you used to arrive. Follow steps 2 through 7, finishing on the 5th floor. 4 sequences should be 4, 2, 6, 2, 10, 5. When you reach the 5th floor, press the button to return to the 1st floor. The elevator will attempt to return to the 10th floor. Instead, begin pressing other floor numbers to stop the elevator before you reach the 10th floor. Proceed to the 1st floor again. Upon reaching the 1st floor, check your surroundings. If anything seems off, even the smallest detail, do not get off the elevator. Repeat step 2 until things look normal. Once you're confident that you are back in your own world, so once you are, confident, you return to your real world exit elevator. If you go ahead with the game and want to find out more about it, here are some, they give you different things you can go to. This is what I found on, just go, if you want to read it, that you can understand instead of my mush mouthness, just all you got to do is Google elevator game, and you will see what I was trying to read. During the search for Lam, guests at the hotel began to complain about low water pressure. Some later claimed that the water was colored black and had an unusual taste. On the morning of February 19th, Santiago Lopez, a hotel maintenance worker, found Lam's body in one of the 1,000-gallon tanks located on the roof, providing water to the guest room, a kitchen, and a coffee shop. Through the open latch, which saw Lamb's face up in the water. Through the open hatch, he saw, and with here, the tank was drained and cut open since the maintenance hatch was too small to accommodate equipment needed to remove Lam's body, because they didn't want to destroy any kind of evidence. And on February 21st, the Los Angeles coroner office issued a finding of accidental drowning with bipolar disorder as a significant factor. The full coroner's report, released in June, stated Lamb's body had been found naked, clothed similar to what she was wearing in the elevator video, was floating in water, coated with a sand-like particles. Her watch and room key was also found with her. Lamb's body was mortally was decomposed and bloated. It was mostly greenish, with some marbling evident on her abdomen, and skin separation was evident. There was no evidence of physical trauma, sexual assault, or suicide. Toxology, what? Simple words. I think I'm trying to read too fast. What the problem is in my notes. Toxology test shows traces consistent of prescription medications found among her belongings, plus non-prescription drugs such as Cinetab and ibuprofen. A very small quantity of alcohol, like I said, was there. It is 0.02 was present, but no other recreational drugs. Investigators, which throws out the theory that she was on drugs during the elevator. And investigators and experts have, however, noted that the concentration of her prescription drugs in her system indicated that she was under-medicated or had stopped her medication altogether, like I had stated earlier. Well, let's get into a little bit more about the finding of the body. Well, like I said, there are a lot of people start complaining about the discord, but in new court documents, the deceased employee who found the body of Elisa Lam in the water tank of the hotel roof in 2013 discussed how he ended up investigating the tank and what it would have took for someone to get into the tank by themselves. Elisa Lam, a 21-year-old tourist from Vancouver, was traveling. In the court documents, San Diego Lopez said he began working on the Cecil Hotel in 2010 as a maintenance employee. City News Service reports he said that he only knew who Elisa Lam was because police had begun searching for her after her family reported her missing, and that he aided officers by opening doors of various rooms the ones that he could in the hotel as they conducted their investigation. He was also the one who would eventually find Lamb's body in one of the four 1,000-gallon water tanks on the hotel's roof. Guests were complaining about the low water pressure, so Lopez said he took the elevator to the 15th floor and took a staircase up to the roof. He had to first turn off the rooftop alarm, and then had to climb onto a platform where the four tanks sat. Then he had to climb another ladder to get to the top of the water tanks. First thing he said was, "I noticed that the hatch. I noticed the hatch of the main water tank was open and looked inside and saw an Asian woman lying face up in the water, approximately 12 inches from the top of the tank," he said. Police had checked the roof during the investigation, but did not think to look in the tanks, which, to this part right here, which really baffled me, because if the tank was open, it seems like the police would find it. Maybe they didn't look up there, but they also checked with helicopters to see that. And my theory is, I'm not even gonna say theory, but let's put this scenario out. Say if she jumped in there, but she was back down, so she was facing up, like if you were trying to float. You ever been in the water where you just get tired and you just decide to float? And that was in position. And a lot of people thought that she might have been taking off her clothes, but some people, like I said, it all depends on who you ask what they think. It was murder. They think that it was a stage. There's no way that she could have got in there by herself. First of all, the tank was over 10 foot high. There was no ladder. I've heard conflicting reports that there was a ladder on tank, but I'm also hearing that there was none. They had to bring one in. But if you look at the picture, as soon as you exit, there's a ladder right there where you could have got on that ladder, climbed up on this little elevator roof, I guess it would be, where the stairs come up at, and jump on the tanks. If it was open, now there goes my stuttering. I get talking too fast, and yes, I do have a stuttering problem. For some of y'all that listen, you know this, and if you're still listening, thank you. But where was I at? I was listening, on my Twitter page. I started following John Lauren because if you watch the documentary, John Lauren is actually on the documentary a lot. He had a big part into it, and I tweeted a bunch of stuff, and he stated that the thing weighed 20 pounds. Now, if you're above it, 20 pounds is not much, but if you jump in, how you gonna get that thing back on? And I think the police stated that the lid was closed, but the person, San Diego, if that was his name, the maintenance worker stated that it was open. So the investigation had determined how Lam died, but did not initially offer an explanation as how she got into the tank in the first place. Doors and stairs to access to the hotel's roof are locked, with only staff having the passcodes and keys, and any attempt to force them was supposedly supposedly have triggered the alarm. The hotel's fire escapes would have allowed her to bypass these security measures. Her scent trail was lost near a window that connected to it. A video posted to the internet by a Chinese user after Lamb's death showed that the hotel's roof was easily accessible via the fire escape, and the two of the lids of the water tanks were open. So she tested up, and sure shit, the tanks were open. And if you Google pictures, you'll see what it's talking about right on the side. And of course, they could have did the door, but because of fire safety stuff, they could not restrict that part of the hotel. So apart from the question of how she got on the roof, others asked if she could have gotten into the tank by herself. All four tanks were 4 by 8 foot cylinders propped up on concrete blocks where there was no fixed access to them, and hotel workers had to use a ladder to look at the water. They were protected by heavy lids that was 20 pounds that would be difficult to replace within. First of all, it would be impossible to replace for not difficult, impossible to replace for a minute. Even if the water's at full level, you will still have to, reach up there. I guess you kind of reach up there and hold on, but keep in mind, people are using the water too, so the water is kind of fluctuating constantly, so it's never full. Especially the hotel had, I think, 700 rooms, if I'm not mistaken. I could be totally wrong about that. Should have had that on my research, but I didn't because I'm a dumbass. But I will look that up and I'll post it on my social media. The employee found, so the hotel employee who found the body said that the lid was open at the time, removing the issue of how she could have closed the lid from inside because it was open. So police dogs that searched through the hotel for Lamb, even on a roof shortly after disappearance was noted, did not find any trace of her. Theories arose pertaining to the elevator video. Some argue that she was attempting to hide from a pursuer, perhaps someone ultimately responsible for her death, while others said she was merely frustrated with the elevator's apparent malfunctions. Some proponents of the theory that she was under the influence of drugs and not this diagnosed. Of course, there was no drugs in her during the toxology was screened, suggesting that they might have been broken down. They said it was broken down during time of her body decomposing in a tank. She might have been given some rare cocktails, such as the drugs of a normal screen that would not be detected. The very low level of her prescription drugs in her system and the amount of pills left in the prescription bottle suggests that she was under medicating or had recently stopped taking her medication for bipolar disorder, which might have led to a psychic episode. And I was kind of curious about why, let's finish the autopsy reported, and this conclusion that were also questioned based on the incomplete information. For instance, it does not say what the result of the rape kit said. There was no result. They did the rape kit, but they never followed up on it. The fingernail kit was, yeah, the fingernail kit were, or even they were processed. So they didn't process none of the finger. That didn't make no sense what I just said. They did a rape kit and fingernail processed the finger, but they did never process the evidence on that. It also records substantial pooling of blood in Lamb's anal area, so she could have been raped, but some observers suggest was the sign of sexual abuse. One pathologist noted it could have also resulted from bloating in the course of the body's decomposition, or her rectum also polarized. Even the coroner's pathologist appeared to be about the amnient about the conclusion that Lamb's death was accidental. So, in fact, on the death sentence, they put something else down, but then they later corrected it and said accidental. Since her death, her Tumblr blog was updated, presumably through Tumblr's quote option that allows posts to automatically publish themselves when the user is away. Her phone was not found either with her body or in the hotel room. It has been assumed to have been stolen at the time around her death. Whether continued to update to the blog, we're fascinated by the theft of her phone. Her phone. but the work of a hacker or through some unknown reason, I don't know. But her phone was never found, but it continued blogging. So a lot of people are kind of curious about that. So in September 2013, like I said, Lam's parents filed, and I bet you all confused there. Basically, let me go back to that. I'm not going to leave you with all that crazy nonsense, but her phone was never found. But they're saying that Tumblr sometimes updates blogs while you're not present, just automatic, which don't make no sense. But some people think that maybe someone has stole her phone and was blogging. Her page might have been open, so they continue blogging, acting like those her, or maybe the killer. Let's say that. I'm not saying this is not my belief. I'm just theorizing this. It's just maybe if there was someone else involved, maybe they took the phone and obtained her passwords, and maybe when things got too crazy, they continue blogging. So during the search period, so they'll think that she was not dead there, give it enough time for him to get out of there, and then quit. I don't know. What do you think? Let me know. But like I told you in September earlier when I first started this episode, September 2, Lamb's parents filed a wrongful death suit claiming the hotels failed to inspect and seek out hazards of the hotel that presented unreasonable risk of danger to Lamb or other hotel guests, and seeking unspecific damages and burial costs. The hotel argued that it could not have reasonably foreseen that Lamb might have entered the water tank, and since it remained unknown how Lamb got into the water tank, no liability could be signed for failing to prevent it. So 2015, the suit was dismissed. But and I was looking at the weather about that because I was thinking about how did the dogs miss how because me and my wife are always talking about how dogs have really good sense and everything. And the first thing that came to my mind was maybe the weather was bad. So I decided to look up what the weather was around between February 13th, so February 28th. So it looks like it pretty much averaged all the way across the board from January to February, was around the 70s and sunny. No rain, no nothing. So it looks like it was nice weather. So it was nothing was there to wash away any sense that might have been there. It looks like the most of the part with the lows. The lowest was on February 25th of 2013, was 45, but sunny, high 73, 79. So it wasn't, that probably helped on the decomposition, but did not. There was nothing there to wash away the scent or anything like that, if that's possible. But some of the things that I found during watching the documentary on this was, why didn't the police see the lid open? Like I said, and I told you about the shoe. These are notes that had a death first day. I told you I'm done draining the tank. Here's what I thought funny. When they drained the tank, I wonder what they did with the water. Did they just let it leak all over the side of the building? Or did they, all that death water pouring all over everybody? But the most interesting thing that I found out about this is fucking bloggers are idiots. Now I'm looking at a truck right now. I'm at this. Remember I was about the truck stop. I did not see this guy go in. Maybe he did on the app. I don't see no receipt on his door, but he's parked in a reserve spot. But he is parked over the line. But you know what? I'm gonna mind my own business. But he definitely, he had plenty of room to park, but he is definitely parked all crooked and crazy. But anyhow, I got sidetracked because I'm looking at this truck here, and he's going to bed. I see him pull his curtains down. Night, night, trucker. But hackers, internet trolls. Well, Dan Cummins from Time Suck says idiots of the internet really screwed this one guy's life over, because this guy stayed at the hotel, and I'm not even gonna try to say his name. He's from Mexico, but he's in the band Morbid. He is like a black metal, dark metal band, kind of like heavier Marilyn Manson. But he was actually accused of killing Lisa Lam because he stayed at the hotel room. But listen, he was not there the day of the murder or anywhere. He was there. The murder happened in 2013 February. He was there February 2012 for 2 days. He was not even there. In fact, when it happened, he was in Mexico recording the album with all kinds of documentation proving this, that he was there and everything. So what happened was bloggers really started, internet sleuths or internet detectives, I can't remember. But anyhow, it's all these people who thought they knew what was going on, and they ruined this poor man's life. They said that he was there. They were cussing him out because of this. Facebook, all his social media pages got canceled. His YouTube page got canceled, and he was not able to do anything until recently. I saw he finally was able to update us. Now he's Morbid Dark Angel, I believe, not the regular Morbid. I actually found Morbid Dark Angel. Actually, the first thing I found was Morbid, and I looked at one because I want to see some of these reviews. I want to see if he was still active on YouTube, and I did find Morbid, but like I said, it's the wrong Morbid. If you listen to music, you'll find out that's not the Morbid they're talking about. The one that I felt was Morbid Black Med. Let me see. I'm looking at my phone right now because I had recently looked this up. Black Star, I believe. Yeah, Morbid Black Star is what you want to look for. If you want to listen to some of his music, or if you want to support him, his Patreon page and all that, help him get out of this slump. It's not personally my music, but all the same, somebody shouldn't be a bunch of idiots. Even after it was proven that he was not there at the time, but they were still consistent because the music he played and what he looked like in the videos. He did some videos about killing a girl. And so they said and he was there, even though it was a year prior to her murder. They really thought that he did it, which brought me to another scenario altogether. Rock and roll is rock and roll the devil? I don't know. This goes to a lot of times where even myself, when I was younger, because I like to wear dark clothes, listen to heavy metal music, people thought I was a Satan worshiper for some reason, even though I never. Well, what did Ozzy say? People think I'm conjuring up the dead. He said, "Hell, I can't even conjure myself up out of bed in the morning, more or less conjuring up the dead." But I went to a friend's house one time, and her ma cursed me and told me, "Get the hell out of there." So pretty much said, "Get behind me, Satan, and be gone with you." Yeah, she didn't want not want me. I finally asked her. I said, "What was wrong with your mom?" She goes, "Oh, people told her that you were the same." One of the things was I used to smoke a lot of weed, and I don't know if you're a weed smoker, you like to dim the lights. So we had Christmas lights in our bedroom. So what people thought was we were making sacrifices to Satan. Freaking ridiculous. Also, another group of people that was falsely imprisoned because of that was the West Memphis Three. If you remember them, they were initially put in jail because of that. So let's talk about a few other bands that was connected to Satanism. Of course, the Beatles were perhaps the most influential band of the 60s, and they were considered they were connected with Charles Manson, so they were connected to that because of that. And of course, don't even get me started on Kiss. Kiss was another. I don't think they were. I've never read anything where they're connected to murder, but Kiss was a popular target largely thanks to Gene Simmons' demon character. Their theatric presence and a cult-like following was a very troublous sign for reserved parents, especially in the 70s, particularly America's Bible Belt states. The band was accused of recruiting a generation of kids into the Kiss Army. Some claim Kiss stood for Knights in Satan's Service. And then you got the Eagles' Hotel California album. We talked about the devil being in it. The Eagles were even fell victim of the allegations of Satan worshippers in the album Hotel California. The album Fallout alleged despite a figure who somewhat resembled the Church of Satan's leader at the time, Anton LaVey, hiding in the window above the party in the 1980s. The Reverend Paul Rensley of Cornerstone Church in Burlington, Wisconsin, alleged that Hotel California referred to a San Francisco hotel that was purchased by Anton LaVey and was converted into the Church of Satan. Of course, AC/DC. Don't even have to read anything about that. Black Sabbath, either Ozzy Osbourne. Let's see, Robert Johnson. Went down to the crossroads, sell his soul to the devil. Judas Priest. Now, these poor guys, these people, because the lyrics that was supposed to be hidden, some lyrical lyrics in there, said that they told these kids to kill themselves. And there was statements from Rob Halford said if we're going to put anything out, it would be like buy more records. And Lamb of God, even Madonna wasn't, what word am I looking for? Exempt. Another religious accusation film entitled They sold their soul for rock and roll. So Madonna did too. Ronnie James Dio with the Big Devils and Iron Maiden, Number of the Beast. So many people accuse like heavy metal bands of worship of Satan, anything that was done wrong, anything murder like this, they went straight to him. And even after they stated that it was not, Lisa Lam was not murdered, that was accidental. No one even thought about apologizing to poor old boy, that over at Morbid. They just forgot about it. They're wrong and they're not going to admit it. But anyhow, hopefully he gets his life back together. And there you go. If you lasted this long, we're at an hour right now. Thank you. I'm sorry I do stutter a lot. I do read too fast my notes and get tongue tied and twisted. But this is something I enjoy to do while I'm on the road. I don't talk to too many people, so this is my way of interacting with y'all. Since y'all don't interact with me, hit on you. No, I'm joking. I appreciate y'all listening to me. And as always, if you want to reach me, you can reach me at Gary. Well, you can reach me at truckstopmurder at Gmail. That's my email, truckstopmurder@gmail.com. My social, you can look at all the social media pages, Truckstopmurder, a true crime podcast. And I'm starting a YouTube page, Truckstopmurder and True Crime. Also, if you want to throw me a few bucks on PayPal, it's truckstopmurder@gmail, my email. Also, I have a Patreon, so you can be a Patreon anywhere from $1 to $10. I think I'm gonna get rid of the $10, just be 1 and 5. One being you get a shout on the show, and once I start doing early episode, try to get on top of things early. And if I get just like right now, I'm getting ahead of myself. If I get sponsors, it'll be sponsor free episodes on the $2 one. And 5, I'm gonna start doing some bonus episodes hopefully soon. But right now, I have no Patreons, only myself because I want to make sure I was doing it right. Also, if you buy me a cup of coffee /.com/truckstopmurder, you can donate me there as well. All right, so let's end this madness. And like I say, you can't fix stupid, but you can sure numb it with a 2x4. I am out of here.